This video is for adults only. Viewer discretion is advised. Everything I'm sharing is my opinion.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies.
If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It's free and it helps me out a lot. So, what if every story you believed wasn't the full truth in the Gypsy Rose Nick saga? What if the person that we've been calling the victim is actually the one who's been in control the whole time? For nearly a decade, the world has seen Gypsy Rose Blanchard as the ultimate survivor, a girl trapped by her mother, controlled, desperate to escape. And there's no question that what Gypsy endured was real. It was documented, and parts of it are absolutely horrifying. But what if the story that we've been told for all of these years was incomplete? So it's been years since Gypsy and Nick did away with Gypsy's mom, Dee Dee, and a lot of new footage, messages, and information have surfaced for the first time. And the materials really complicate the narrative that we've been told about Gypsy and Nick. So this is not about rewriting history, it's about re examining it to get to the truth. Today, we're looking at what newer evidence suggests and what remains disputed, and the questions that still do not have clear answers in the Gypsy Rose case. In the recent years, we have new videos, new messages, and testimony, and they raise a lot of uncomfortable questions about what Gypsy knew when she knew it. For example, Gypsy was portrayed as a sick girl who was trapped in a prison of medical lies. She was told she was sick, that she was disabled, she couldn't walk, she couldn't eat, she couldn't live independently. And when her mother was done away with by Gypsy and Nick back in 2015, we all reacted with empathy and shock. Gypsy did plead guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. She got out early. And Nick, her then boyfriend, and the man who did do away with Dee Dee, was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. And the story that we all accepted was that Gypsy was a desperate victim and that Nick was an evil perpetrator. But the clarity dissolves with all of the new information that's coming out. For example, we now know that Gypsy absolutely knew that she could walk. You can clearly see that Gypsy is standing. She is not in a wheelchair. And she videotaped this message to Nick. We're not going to play the whole thing. I just want to prove to you that she knew she was standing and that she was a very good actress.
I've worn what you wanted me to wear or commanded me to wear. I am making this video, sir, because, well, one, you commanded me to, but another is so I can introduce myself. I realized that we didn't get off to a real good start. Because, well, at first I thought you weren't exactly Nick, and then, as I started to get to know you a bit more, I realized that you are a part of him.
So I'm showing you this not to shame Gypsy Rose, but simply to show you that she absolutely knew she could walk. And I'm just wondering where Dee Dee was when Gypsy was filming all of this. We're going to break down the contradictions and the psychology in this case, not to defend anybody, not to hurt anybody, but just simply to understand what is truth and what is fiction. So the question of walking, one of the most repeated claims that we heard in Gypsy's early interview was that she believed she couldn't walk, that she had been so deeply conditioned to accept this lie as truth that she believed it. Clearly, that is not true. Clearly, she knew she could walk, as evidenced by multiple videos that she filmed for Nick where she's not in her wheelchair and she appears to be standing. Neighbors have also come forward and testified that they have seen Gypsy walk, and in some recorded moments, Gypsy appears to be physically capable in ways that contradicted her early claims of her not knowing that she could walk. So was there another way for Gypsy to have gotten away from Dee Dee? Because the story we've always been fed is that Gypsy had no choice. In her mind, she didn't see another way out. I'm not so sure that's true anymore. I think Gypsy did have another way out. I think she knew she had another way out. So did Gypsy literally get away with doing away with Dee Dee? because we all know that Nick had a lower than average IQ. We all know that Nick is on the spectrum. So who really masterminded this? We also know that Nick wanted to use a taser and that it was Gypsy who made the decision to get the knife. So how much of this con that was being perpetrated by Dee was being perpetrated onto Gypsy, and how much of it was Gypsy complicit in? This rabbit hole goes deep. So Gypsy did coordinate the travel for Nick. She discussed timing, she discussed location, and she discussed the aftermath of what was going to happen next. So it does raise an uncomfortable but necessary question of how much agency did Gypsy really have at the time? And being a victim of Dee does not automatically mean that Gypsy was powerless in every single situation. And acknowledging Gypsy's agency doesn't take away from the fact that Dee victimized her. I believe that she did, but it does complicate it. Who decided how far this plan was going to go? Was it Gypsy or was it Nick?
I feel like you get me, you understand me,
And a shout out to Into the Weeds podcast for getting all of this. This is Gypsy as another one of her alter egos. This is Damona.
we have this sort of deep soul connection that makes it so easy for you to just know how I'm feeling and know how I'm going to respond to something you say, or I know how you're going to respond to something I say. And it's amazing that we have this deep connection to each other that makes it so easy for us to communicate and for us to be one and to be happy. And I think you being who you are, you're a natural leader. You're able to take responsibility and take charge of anything, whether it's a relationship, a journey, or just anything in general. You are a leader.
So is this Gypsy just manipulating Nick here, telling him what he's capable of? Or is this the truth?
Hey honey, I'm trying something new here. I'm gonna use this piece here for the audio for one time just to see how well it works.
So this is Nick. He's in prison without the possibility of parole. He is on the spectrum. He is autistic. And he also is known to have a lower than average IQ. So again, who was the master manipulator and who was the patsy?
If you can hear me perfectly clear or what else not, darling. Anyways, I'm giving you this video because I feel like telling you something myself about the black one. It seems that later tonight most likely is the time that he's gonna end up popping out. I'm keep on getting certain songs in my head that I haven't even listened to forever. It's like signs to me on what he might be up to. Songs that I usually would get in my head from time to time, and then all of a sudden I'd lose it if I listen to a different song. Something like that, honey. Well, because of this, I pretty much have thought that it pretty much is most likely, I'd say 90% most likely that he's going to be around the time I get back home tonight is the time he was actually going to do something.
So I just want to be clear. I'm not saying that he is innocent and that she's guilty. What I am saying is that this is a lot more complicated than we were led to believe. I think that his mental capacity is lower than we thought. And I do not think that he fully understood what he was being drawn into. And I think there is a disparity in the amount of prison time that they were sentenced. Gypsy was out after 7 years, and Nick is in for life without the possibility of parole. And so it does seem like the legal system weighed their roles very differently. But it's the moral calculus that's still being debated. So was justice served proportionately? Did the narrative shape the punishment? Was Gypsy the innocent victim reacting in desperation that we were told? Or was Gypsy an active participant who exercised a lot more control over Nick and over the narrative than we ever believed. Let me know what you think. For now, we'll leave it there. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It's free and it helps me out a lot. Give this a thumbs up and drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section below.